Have you ever wondered if our modern obsession with economic efficiency has left something, well, absolutely crucial behind? We live in a world that is totally fixated on maximizing output, but often it's at the steep cost of the very people powering the engine. So welcome. Today, in this explainer, we're exploring a really profound alternative to our current labor ethics. We're going to unpack a fascinating framework that attempts to finally balance the scales, merging high-level economic efficiency with deep communal harmony. It's all centered on two big concepts, Junghwa utilitarianism and Haewon Sangsaeng.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, limits of existing utilitarianism. 2, the Junghwa utilitarian alternative. 3, understanding Haewon Sangsaeng. 4, cyclic integration of ideologies. And finally, 5, applying the new ethic. Section 1, limits of existing utilitarianism. The modern crisis of labor and efficiency. So does maximum efficiency always equal justice? You know, traditional utilitarianism usually operates on that classic principle, the greatest good for the greatest number. But here's the catch. In the blind pursuit of that absolute maximum efficiency, the folks who don't happen to belong to that majority are very often left out in the cold. The weak get marginalized, our shared communal values start to erode, and we see these severe ethical blind spots pop up everywhere. Frankly, this relentless, unchecked drive for output just deepens our social conflicts. It's almost like a rigged game. Traditional systems create this severe social imbalance because they pit the interests of the majority directly against the rights of the minority. Because our existing frameworks prioritize only the efficiency of the majority, they offer incredibly inadequate protection for minority rights. And listen, this isn't just some abstract academic problem. This is a very real, tangible crisis of labor ethics causing genuine alienation today. Whether we're talking about the instability of modern gig economies or the rigid hierarchies of corporate structures. Moving right along to Section 2, the Junghwa utilitarian alternative, bridging efficiency and harmony. So what's the fix? Well, the proposed solution is Junghwa, or harmonization-based utilitarianism. What's truly brilliant about this approach is that it doesn't just throw the concept of efficiency out the window entirely. Instead, it acts as a much-needed bridge. It actually takes that core utilitarian principle of pursuing efficiency and directly weaves it together with communitarian harmony. It's this fantastic developmental alternative that proves we really don't have to choose between a highly productive society and a deeply harmonious one. We can actually have both. So the crucial point here, and this is a real game changer, is that this harmonization-based perspective explicitly protects minority rights without sacrificing our overall economic output. It's all about balanced protection, right? It argues that we can absolutely maintain high-performing systems while building in incredibly robust safeguards for the marginalized. Actually, scratch that. It's more like viewing labor not just as a transactional input, like a cog in a machine, but as a collaborative pillar. By doing that, it creates a harmonization-based view that finally, once and for all, balances those scales. Section 3, understanding Haewon Sangsaeng, the mechanism of mutual benefit. Okay, the specific term for the mechanism driving this is Haewon Sangsaeng. Now, that might be an unfamiliar term to some of you, but its practical application is profoundly relevant to how we work today. Haewon Sangsaeng is fundamentally a principle of harmony. It happens when two or more desires, even fiercely competing ones, act on each other in a harmonized way to become Sangsaeng, which essentially translates to mutually life-giving or mutually beneficial. Think of it as a totally inclusive solution designed to untangle grievances and conflict while simultaneously advancing the interests of both the minority and the majority. And the way these concepts intersect brilliantly illustrates how Haewon Sangsaeng sits as this vital, overlapping anchor. It completely bridges efficiency on one side and communality on the other. It literally is the exact intersection of harmony and balance. It visually proves that when we apply this principle, there is absolutely no need to sacrifice our communal values just for the sake of efficiency. Rather, we're weaving them together to create a much stronger, far more resilient whole. All right, Section 4. Cyclic integration of ideologies, a macro view of society. Traditionally, we've always viewed major social ideologies like utilitarianism, communitarianism, libertarianism, and social contractuarianism as strictly competing, like they are totally mutually exclusive. But in this cyclic, integrative economic view that's rooted in Junghwa, these distinct ideologies actually interact dynamically. Because all things circulate, the public efficiency found in a harmonization-based approach can actually expand outward. Basically, these ideologies flow right into and support one another, rather than just endlessly competing in their own isolated silos. It's all connected.
Which brings us to Section 5, applying the new ethic, grounding the philosophy in reality. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is a fascinating historical and spiritual example derived directly from the Junghwa scripture. The source text describes this scenario where folks who were historically labeled as rebellious spirits, essentially the marginalized minority oppressed by a powerful majority, enter an era of resolving their grievances. And in this era, that minority takes on the role of actually judging the majority to forge a new, sound economic structure. It's such a powerful illustration of flipping the traditional power dynamic. And not for revenge, mind you, but to establish a genuinely fair ideology where deep past grievances are finally truly addressed.
So, translating all of that philosophy into modern, practical terms, Haewon Sangsaeng actively revives our communities. It does this first by restoring labor ethics, like taking a genuine harmonization-based response to ethical violations in the workplace. Second, it strictly guarantees the rights of the weak. And third, it actively works on resolving unjust grievances, which the text refers to as won. This isn't just about surface-level PR apologies. No, this is about actively clearing the historical and systemic burdens carried by the socially weak to engineer a society that is truly inclusive and genuinely equitable. By inheriting the absolute best parts of utilitarianism while still fiercely protecting minority rights, the Junghwa perspective contributes immensely to resolving social conflict and restoring our moral compass. It proves without a doubt that we can achieve social harmony through a balanced, cyclic relationship among all our diverse ideologies. So I want to leave you with this final, absolutely vital question. Can we build a future where sustainable societal development is rooted in a true, unwavering ethic of respect for all labor? The framework of Junghwa utilitarianism and Haewon Sangsaeng suggests that yes, we absolutely can, if we are willing to balance our drive for efficiency with the essential value of communal harmony. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.